else will break your heart. I'm never gonna hold you back. I'm always gonna have.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to 321 No Kiddin. Bobby the Awesome here. October 19th is the daily reading we'll be doing today. I appreciate you being here and taking the time to listen. Let's jump right into it. Lewis Carroll says, "Don't just do something, stand there." We used to spend all our time running around with no time, it seemed, for the important things. Our addiction kept us in this state of turmoil, and we didn't have time for the most important thing of all, our lives. In reality, this frenzy of activity was an energy-consuming tactic that let us avoid awareness of our addiction. Unlike healthy physical activity, it drained us of strength, but gave back nothing in return. Now we have time to devote to ourselves. This means spending quiet time rewarding ourselves for tasks well done. It also means we have time for physical activity, which strengthens and invigorates us. Playtime. Yes, playtime. We might not feel we're ready to take on a regular program of jogging or swimming. We can take time out each day for a brisk walk. The new energy we gain combines with an increase in self-esteem and makes us even more ready to take on new challenges. Our new feeling of well-being prepares us emotionally as well as physically for each new day. And our sense of accomplishment at making this healthy change lays the stepping stones for more growth. Today, let me pay attention to my need for physical activity and do at least one thing to satisfy that need. Okay, so in the spirit of practicing what I preach, I'm going to give you some examples of just a couple of the ways that I did this week. And I realize not everybody's on a midlife crisis road trip or, a big transitional shift in their life, maybe like I'm experiencing right now. But here are a couple examples, and maybe they can give you some ideas on how to spark this concept into your life. So when I miss recording a podcast on a specific day for you guys, because I'm on the road trip, I'm not saying this to make an excuse, but this was the first thing that jumped in my head. But it's because I'm living my life. Our addiction kept us in this state of turmoil, and we didn't have time for the most important thing of all, our own lives. And that's what I'm doing when I'm not with you, is I'm working on my own life, my recovery, my relationships, my business. And that's why I have to allow myself the grace and forgiveness. So if you're someone who's, say, starting out and you need to go to a GA meeting or a recovery Dharma meeting or whatever meeting, you have to do something for your recovery. But let's say, you're married with kids and you need to go to your meeting, but maybe there's homework that has to get done with the kiddos, or your spouse is feeling a little like, well, geez, you go to these meetings 2 or 3 times a week or whatever. I would advocate that you have a conversation to find that balance if it does involve other people, but you may need to devote that recovery time to yourself and make that a boundary, or, it's protecting your positivity, it's protecting your recovery, and it's making it all those other times when it's not that hour and a half you need to be on a Zoom call or in an in-person meeting, you can show up better to live your life the rest of the time. And your recovery is part of your life. It's what gives you your life back, quite frankly. The physical activity part. So you guys know that I'm active. It was so funny. My girlfriend Jane said to me, "Is there a sport you don't do?" Now, guys, I'm the most unathletic person you probably ever met. I never was good at athletic things. I was never, I think I made out of 2 or 3 seasons of playing softball on the work beer league, I think I've made 2 outs in my whole life. I've only made 2 or 3 birdies at golf, and I've been golfing now for 10 years, even though I feel like it's only been 2 or 3. I play like it's only been 2 or 3. And, she was kind of bringing this up, and I'm like, listen, I'm not an athlete. I do volleyball and Zumba, and a lot of the things that I do that are physical are almost like medication or healing or socialization or whatever. And I try, and I'm not perfect, and things hurt when I'm trying. A lot of times things hurt. So it's not about being an athlete. It's just about movement for our body. Physical health is good. I mean, going for walks, walking with Karen, or going after the steps, all those things are part of my normal routine. And as I travel, it takes mindful strategy in order to keep up that movement. So a couple examples are, the day that we went to Denver Botanical Gardens, me and that girlfriend, it was like, hey, you want to go for a hike? You want to go for a walk? You want to do something? So walking around and getting the fresh air and doing something outside like that, as opposed to maybe just going for a meal and sitting inside. Or I was supposed to have a coffee date today at 12 and something came up, so it isn't going to happen. So when we were rescheduling, I was like, hey, you want to go for a walk? And we can catch up while we're walking and talking. Like, that's all it takes. We don't have to be stationary to have a conversation, right? And I just did that yesterday morning too. When I was driving into town, I had called my friend that I went hiking with a few weeks ago. We did like 5 freaking miles one morning. I called him and said, hey, do you want to go for a walk first thing in the morning? Because I know that walking in the morning makes me feel better the rest of the day. And he said, no, he had a dentist appointment on a Saturday. Who does that? But he called me right after the dentist and was like, do you want to go for a walk? And I was actually going to record my next podcast to stay current. And I chose to go for the walk instead. Not because I wanted to blow you guys off, but because it was an opportunity to get some physical activity. And I believe that passionately about it, that I have to work on it. And I guess I'm very fortunate now that I have like 380 shows for you to listen to, that I know you won't miss me too much if I'm a few hours or even a day late in getting a new show out to you. So those are just some examples. So the next time maybe you're meeting with an old friend or even your spouse after dinner, maybe you want to have some nice quality talk time. You could do it on the couch, or you could go for a walk around the block, take the dog for a walk, have a conversation. Play, have fun. I love that it said play in here, right? Did it say play? I feel like it did. Yes, it means we also have time for physical activity, which strengthens and invigorates us. Playtime. And you guys know I love to play. And we don't have to play with gambling. We can play. We could be silly in a yard with a dog. We can be... Yes, I know. I love dogs. And I'm thinking of this video of when I got knocked down by this dog a little while back. So it was a good knockdown. But playing with that, playing with your kids, playing things like volleyball, or yesterday. So here I am. Like I said, I spend a lot of time in the bar when I'm here. It's just like the hub. It's a bar restaurant, but it's the hub where we all meet. And we were playing the game Heads Up, which is, I think it was created by maybe Ellen. I'm not sure. It's an app. But you put this thing on your head and it's one of those guessing games where people describe it and you have to guess the word they're describing. And we were playing that at the bar. It wasn't very busy and we were just laughing and having a good old time. So make time for play. Well, a couple of the girls, actually, one lady went home, got her pajamas on and went to another girl's and they were having like a slumber party. That's playing and that's good stuff. We have to make time for that. We need to laugh. That's for damn sure. But all of this devoting time to ourselves it's developmental and it's healing at the same time. It helps us with being present in the moment. It helps us light up the physiological chemicals that make us happy by laughing and playing. Like it does so much good stuff for our insides and our outsides. So I'll always advocate for that. Now, if you're sitting there saying, I can't walk, I got bad legs, or I can't lift, or whatever that is, maybe the solution is a swimming pool, or maybe it's starting small. Maybe if you can't get around too good, breathing. I don't know. I don't know what, physical limitations you may or may not have, but Google some solutions, get creative about it. Let's say you can't walk. Well, who's not to say that you don't sit in your recliner and you have a couple little hand weights or heavy things and you just do some reps and you start listening and you strengthen your arms that way and you burn some calories and just move the needle a little bit more, or breathing or using your own body weight. Or I'm not real good at push-ups, right? And my knees and my wrists are horrible. So one of the tricks I do is I'll try to do push-ups up against a wall. I'll add a little tilt instead of trying to do it as hardcore from the floor up. So there's solutions for all of this stuff. And again, not only are we strengthening our bodies, it strengthens our minds, our stamina, our well-being. But if we're also focused on taking care of our bodies, we're not thinking about gambling, right? Well, it's going to be hard to split your attention in two different ways, is what I'm saying. A brisk walk. Dr. Amen says that we have to walk like we're late for something. And I'm still not perfect at this, especially when I'm bad and I'm smoking. I said to Jerry yesterday when we were walking, I'm like, slow down. Like, you got a fat smoker here. And then I kind of had that voice in my head say to me, yep, Dr. Amen says you have to walk like you're late for something. So it's a little bit more work than just a casual little stroll. So think about those things. Build yourself up to that part. The new energy we gain combines with an increase in self-esteem and makes us even more ready to take on new challenges. So what I read there, the first thing that jumped in my mind is appearance, the self-esteem linked to appearance. And I don't think that's what this is saying at all. This isn't about exercising to lose weight, to look different, to increase our self-esteem. This is about investing in ourselves. The self-esteem perspective of knowing that we're worth it and that we should be taking care of ourselves. That's really what I get out of this. And the sense of accomplishment as we take on new challenges. So let's use the example of sitting in the recliner, lifting objects that are 1 or 2 pounds in your biceps. And all of a sudden, a month of doing this goes by and you go to lift something heavy and you can do it. Or you just move the needle. Maybe the 2 pounds turns into 4 pounds or whatever. Those little victories help build up our confidence and help us recognize our wins, or hopefully recognize our wins. I hope you're recognizing your wins. It's really important that we take note of those because it shows us we're on the right track. And every win, no matter how small, is important because we're moving the needle. We're growing, we're changing, we're being badasses. So keep that in mind as well, please. Our new feeling of well-being prepares us emotionally as well as physically for each new day. And our sense of accomplishment and making this change lays the stepping stones for more growth. So we're putting a foundation down. And again, this is ways to fill our positive bucket, to have a place to draw from. So think of it that way, that all of these little steps is all part of us setting ourselves up for a gambling-free life. And knowing that we have these things that we're training ourselves to do as our options instead of going for the bet or the action the next time we're in that moment and we need to heal and we need to cope and we need to do whatever we need to do. We have more resources and more habits. So a bunch of things are going on as we develop these skills and we put the effort into these. And again, do it on the days that you feel good, when it comes easily. So that way you form the habit that when the days that are a little tougher to get through or to get motivated, that you have the strength and the power to do it on those days as well. Practice, guys. It takes practice. All of this stuff takes practice. And that's why I tell you about it. A lot of the similar themes from show to show is because if you're tuning in and you're listening and you really want to be here and you really want to live your best life, we got to practice. I got to continue to keep it top of mind for me by talking about it. You need to keep it top of mind for yourself by listening, by doing the work, by trying different things. Maybe something I say today works this time. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you have to try 5 other things to find what's right for you. Volleyball and Zumba are not going to be what is the end all be all for everyone listening. However, maybe it's pickleball, or maybe I'm trying to think of another dancing or exercise thing, but everybody has their own things, their own likes, their own what they need or want in order to make them feel better. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. That'll be some homework for today. I don't think I've given you homework in a little while. So we'll give you some homework. So I want you to identify 2 things, just 2 new things for you to try that help you move the needle in your physical well-being. So it could be something as simple as lifting something and doing 5 reps. It could be something like sitting still and being present and breathing, just taking a 1-minute meditation. That's physical, your mind and your body to breathe and just take notice of your breath. It could be as simple as that, but find those 2 things and do those 2 things. Okay, so now that I've given you that homework, I'm going to ask you one more thing. I'm going to say, if you like hanging out here with me, if you get value from the show, if you guys could help me out, leave a rating, leave a review, subscribe. Haven't chatted about this in a while, but the more engagement that I have from you, the more it helps me show up in the world to serve more folks. Because, I don't know, the way the crazy web works and all this stuff, your ratings and reviews really just help me be able to get in front of more folks that might need help with gambling or dealing with this funny thing called life. So, love you guys. I appreciate your help and support. I hope that you have an amazing, amazing day and amazing week. And I will talk to you soon.